Look, I know you're my favorite Christmas movie. I know I watch you every single year around this time of year. I know that, but it's not Christmas season yet. I can't watch you yet. I'm not going to watch you until next week, till after Thanksgiving's over. I can't give into the pressure. I just can't. Ah! I apologize for that, my friends. I did not mean to have that emotional outburst in front of all of you. I am sorry if you were frightened. I'm sorry if your friends, family, and children were watching and they got frightened. I deeply apologize. It's just that I've been going through Home Alone withdrawals. I mean, all of you know it's my favorite Christmas movie. I watch it every year. But I made a promise to myself this year that I wouldn't watch it till after Thanksgiving because, well, it's still Thanksgiving season. It's not Christmas season yet. But oh man, is it hard. Ever since I was a boy, Home Alone has been a holiday classic for my family. I've watched it every year. I've watched it so often that I could tell you every single line of the movie. Yeah. So to tide me over until next week, what do you say I do something Home Alone related for you guys today? And what better thing to do than to count down my top 10 lines from Home Alone. These are the lines that even after 25 years still make me laugh. They're the lines I look forward to seeing. They're the lines I know and am able to recite by heart. Simply put, they're the best lines of the movie in my humble opinion. Now, I just want to say, these aren't ranked in any particular order. They are just in the order as the lines appear in the movie. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. Let's start off with a line that is said by one of the Wet Bandits himself, Harry. Although this line isn't said as one of the Wet Bandits, it's said as he's in disguise as a Chicago police officer while visiting the McAllister house at the beginning of the movie. Harry's desperate to try and talk to an adult because he wants to find out about their security in place, so he knows what to expect when he comes to burglarize the house. But he's having a little bit of misfortune trying to find parents. He finds one kid whose parents are in Paris, he finds one kid whose parents aren't home, he finds one kid whose parents are home, but they're not in the McAllister house, which leads to this line. No, why should they? All kids, no parents, probably a fancy orphanage. The next line of the movie that I really love is said by our hero, Kevin McAllister. Kevin is whining about his suitcase and how he's unable to pack it, so all of his siblings and his cousins are making fun of him because he doesn't know how to pack a suitcase. In fact, at one point, his sister Linny confronts him and says, "You're what the French call les incompetents." Now, while I do love that line, that's actually not on this list. No. The line on this list is right after she tells him that he's going to have to sleep on the hide-a-bed with Fuller, who is known to wet the bed when he has too much to drink. Kevin is none too pleased. This house is so full of people, it makes me sick. When I grow up and get married, I'm living alone. Did you hear me? I'm living alone. I'm living alone. In the very next scene, we get another line that I absolutely love. This is when Buzz and his brother Rod are talking about going to Paris and possibly meeting some French girls. It's something Buzz is very, very concerned about. Is it true that French babes don't shave their pits? Some don't. But they got nude beaches. Not in the winter. Buzz is also responsible for my next favorite line in Home Alone, and it happens just as the family is sitting down to enjoy their pizza dinner from Little Nero's. Let's be honest, the scene is utter chaos. Everyone's grabbing for pizza, everyone's grabbing for milk, everyone's chowing down and eating. Especially Buzz, who was stuffing the last remnants of Kevin's cheese pizza into his mouth. See, Kevin only likes plain cheese pizza, and he's none too happy to find out that Buzz has actually eaten his entire pizza. But fortunately, Buzz has a solution. Get a plate! Apologies for the fake retching there, my friends, but it was needed to convey the essence of the scene. This is right before Kevin slams into Buzz, knocks him over, spills milk all over the passports, including Kevin's, and leads to Kevin's passport inadvertently getting thrown out. Oops. Now, after Kevin realizes he's home alone, he goes hog wild through the house, running all over the place. eating popcorn on his bed, getting popcorn everywhere, goes running around screaming, and he finally ends up in Buzz's room, opens up Buzz's secret chest, and going through all his stuff, including a Playboy magazine. No clothes on anybody. Sickening. Cool firecrackers. I'll save these for later. Buzz, I'm going through all your private stuff. You better come out and pound me. Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof. Now, my next favorite line comes from a movie within a movie. See, while he's home alone, Kevin decides to watch a movie that Uncle Frank wouldn't let him watch, but the big kids could watch. It's a gangster movie called Angels with Filthy Souls. Looks like it was from the 30s, which it probably was. Now, only one scene of the movie is shown, when the gangster Johnny executes fellow mobster Snakes. The concluding line of the scene is a classic that I still say to this very day. Keep the change, you filthy animal. A couple scenes later, Kevin's parents finally realize that he's been left home alone. One of the people who attempts to reassure her is Uncle Frank, and his reassurance doesn't go over so well. If it makes you feel any better, I forgot my reading glasses. Now here's a scene that I didn't really find funny until I was an adult, and it's just based solely on the dialogue that Kevin is saying. It's after Kevin has taken a shower, and he's basically just monologuing to himself in the bathroom mirror. I took a shower washing every body part with natural soap, including all my major crevices, including in between my toes and in my belly button, which I've never did before but sort of enjoyed. I washed my hair with adult formula shampoo, and used cream rinse for that just wash shine. I can't seem to find my toothbrush, so I'll pick one up when I go out later. Other than that, I'm in great shape. Ah! Now, of course, burglar-proofing your house isn't an easy task. And when you're all done, you're hungry and you want to grab something to eat. And that's what Kevin wants to do in this next scene, where he prepares some microwavable macaroni and cheese. And before he has his meal, he has to say a prayer. Bless this highly nutritious microwavable macaroni and cheese dinner and the people who sold it on sale. Amen. And now, my final favorite line in Home Alone. And not only is this line an utter classic, it was also completely improvised. The legendary John Candy is in this movie. He plays Gus Polinski, the Polka King of the Midwest. He ends up giving Kevin's mother a ride back home to Chicago because they're heading to Milwaukee. Kate's convinced she's a bad parent because she left Kevin home alone while they went to Paris, and Gus is trying to reassure her, and he says that even though he's never left a child in another country, he has done something kind of similar. But I did leave one in a funeral parlor once. Yeah, it was terrible too. You know, I was all distraught and everything, you know, the wife and I, and we left the little tyke in a funeral parlor all day. All day. We went back at night, you know, when we came to our senses, and there he was. Apparently he had been there all day long with a corpse. Now, he was okay, you know, after 6-7 weeks, you know, he came around, started talking again. But he's okay, you know, kids are like that. Kids are resilient like that. Man, this list was hard to put together. It was so hard narrowing these lines down to just 10. I mean, there's so many other classic lines I could have put in here. You know what? It's not fair to just settle on one movie. Let's keep going. Let's keep talking about some of my favorite lines in another movie. And what better movie to select than the sequel to Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Yeah, I know this movie is basically a carbon copy of the original, only replacing a few things with other things, but you know what? I still like this movie. Yeah, there weren't as many funny lines in Home Alone 2, but there were still 10 that I absolutely love. Now, to me, the first memorable line is also one of the most repeated lines, and it comes courtesy of our favorite uncle, Uncle Frank. This scene comes at the beginning of the movie when Kevin is trying to sneak into the bathroom while Uncle Frank's taking a shower so he can get his tie so he won't be late for the Christmas pageant. Well, Uncle Frank happens to be singing Cool Jerk by the Capitals, and Kevin is so intrigued that he pulls out his Talkboy and begins recording Uncle Frank. Everything's going well until Uncle Frank notices him.
Get
Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm gonna slap you silly. So Kevin gets separated from his parents, but he doesn't realize this yet, and ends up on a plane to New York City instead of a plane to Miami, Florida. He's sitting next to a man he doesn't know, so Kevin decides to be nice and engage the man in conversation. So he turns to him and says, "So, have you ever been to Florida?" And then the man turns to Kevin and begins speaking fluent French, which is exactly the reason why I can't repeat this line, because I don't speak French. And I'm not even going to attempt to speak this line because I am worried I am going to butcher everything this man says. Though, funny story, my sister actually speaks French, and one time I was watching this movie and I had her translate what the man was saying. Long story short, he basically says that he's a tourist and he's looking for a place to eat, and he asks Kevin, maybe your parents know of a good place to eat. Would you be able to ask them? Next up is a scene that happens in the Miami airport, and it's the scene where the family discovers that Kevin's missing. This, Kevin, give this to Kevin. Give this to Kevin. Give this to Kevin. Give this to Kevin. Kevin, give this to Kevin. 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 Here you go, Kevin. Kevin's not here. 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 What? Kevin! So after Kevin arrives in New York City, he decides to get a room at the Plaza Hotel because, well, isn't that what everybody does when they go to New York City? The problem is, a kid can't just go and simply order a hotel room because you have to be 25 in order to do that, and Kevin's only 10 in this movie. So he decides to use his trusty talk boy to help him out with this scene. He records a few lines into the talk boy and plays it back for the receptionist. "Howdy do. This is Peter McAllister, the father. I'd like a hotel room, please, with an extra large bed, a TV, and one of those little refrigerators you have to open with a key. Credit card? You got it." Now, the concierge is immediately suspicious of Kevin, because why is a kid this young getting a room at the Plaza Hotel and is seemingly all by himself? So he tries to sneak into the room to see what he can find out, but then Kevin makes him think there's an adult in the room and scares him off. The next day, the concierge goes up to Kevin and tries to apologize to him for walking in on his father in the shower. Kevin tells the concierge that his father was pretty mad. He said he didn't come all the way to New York to get his naked rear end spied on. So in this movie, the Wet Bandits have escaped from prison, and they're now on the run as fugitives. This time around, they plan on stealing all the money from a toy store after they've closed, and then using that money to hightail it to a foreign country somewhere. Their plan involves hiding in children's houses in the toy store, and then leaving the houses once the store is closed. Now, at one point in the movie, they test out the houses. Marv, hey, nice house, but there's no bathroom in it. So through a series of events, Kevin is chased out of the Plaza Hotel, and he's on the run from the Wet Bandits, who now legitimately want to kill him. So he's wandering the streets of New York at night, looking for a place to stay, and he sees all these scary people on the streets. He sees a homeless guy, he sees a woman talking to herself, he sees some guy in the shadows just bump into him, and he sees two women who I'm pretty sure are prostitutes. So he needs to get out of there fast. So he hails a cab, thinking it's going to get him to safety. Boy, scary out there. Ain't much better than you, kid. Now, once Kevin finds out that the Wet Bandits are planning on robbing Duncan's toy chest, he decides to put a plan to action for them to get caught. While they're robbing the toy store, Kevin knocks on the window, takes their picture, and then shatters the front window. Harry goes running out and steps on a catapult. Marv then steps on the other end, launches Harry into the air, causing him to land on a car. Marv then goes up to Harry to see if he's okay. I twisted my ankle on that board there. Minutes later, the Wet Bandits chase Kevin to his aunt and uncle's apartment, which is under renovation, so there's nobody living there. Kevin's on the roof and armed with a bunch of bricks. Harry seems to think that Kevin will throw down his camera and then they'll go away and he won't bother them anymore. But instead of the camera, Kevin tosses down a brick, which hits Marv directly on the head. Harry then checks to see if Marv's okay. How many fingers am I holding up, Marv?
8.
And now we've come to my final favorite line of Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Marv and Harry have gained entry into the house, and they're trying to chase after Kevin, who has gone behind a door that he had closed. So Harry runs up to the door, pulls the handle, which comes straight out of the door, and it's followed by this loud, obnoxious noise, which the Wet Bandits can't figure out what it is. So they both place their ears up to the door to hear the sound getting louder and louder and louder until finally, whatever it is, pushes the door off the hinges, pushes them against the wall, and gets them stuck.
That was the sound of a tool chest falling down the stairs.
Thanks for watching this video, my friends. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos from me, simply click that subscribe button down below. And good news, my friends, you won't have to wait until Saturday to see my next vlog. I've got a special one coming later on in the week, but we'll get to that one when we get to it. Until then, this is Peter saying see you later.